Oh, hello. How you doing today? I knew we'd be talking about abortion today, so I was brushing up on my Webster's dictionary, which I thought was an essential place to begin. But actually, before I was looking at the dictionary, I was reading the encyclopedia earlier today, and I learned that on the 22nd of January in 1973, 7 men on our Supreme Court decided through 2 Supreme Court cases, Roe v. Wade and Doe v. Bolton, that abortion, a medical procedure, would be made legal in all 50 states through all 9 months of pregnancy and for virtually any reason. After that decision, some have defended abortion as an empowering choice, where others have condemned abortion as the unjust taking of innocent unborn human life. But which is correct? Hopefully we can take a little bit of a look at that today. So that's where I have to begin with my good friend Mr. Webster here. Here, let's see. He defines abortion right here as the termination of a pregnancy resulting in the death of the fetus or the embryo. Okay, so we know that from this definition, something, which the definition defines and calls the embryo or the fetus, we know that something dies. And it seems to me an important question is, if we're looking at the ethical nature of abortion, is it right or is it wrong, we have to answer a very simple question. What is it that dies? Or, in a simpler way, what is the unborn? For correct me if I'm wrong, but if the unborn is not a human, there's really nothing wrong with abortion. However, if the unborn is a human, then we have a very serious problem on our hands, and it means that abortion, which has been legal since 1973, has taken the lives of over 50 million unborn children. As you can see, answering the question, what is the unborn, is very important. It's actually a matter of life or death. Okay, so let's try to answer the question here. What is the unborn? Well, let's begin with science. We know that through science, the unborn is an alive, distinct, and human being from the moment of conception. A living sperm combines with a living egg to create a living embryo. This embryo has a human DNA that is unique and is distinct from the mother. Of course, it doesn't look human to our eyes, but what does at different times in development? Just because it doesn't look human doesn't mean that its DNA doesn't include it in the human family. Okay, so we've looked at science. Now let's look a little bit of philosophy. And the main question there is the unborn human valuable enough that it deserves our protection? Lots of people might say, well, no, just because you're a human being doesn't necessarily mean you're a human person, and a person is the only kind of human that deserves rights. Well, let's look at this question of value in 2 separate ways. First, let's look at it from the Christian tradition. In the Christian tradition, human value is not granted by society, but it is granted by God through creation. In creation, the human is created in the image of God, and that value of being created in the image of God doesn't begin at birth or even when the heart begins to beat. That value begins at the moment of creation, or the first moment called conception, when the unborn comes into existence as a distinct being. Second, on a more secular level, we know that there is no morally significant difference between the adults you are today and the unborn child we all once were. Sure, we're larger, more developed, and more independent than we were as an unborn human, but that does not mean that we had less rights then than we do now. Even more, when we disqualify one group of human beings because of some characteristic, we have to be consistent and apply that characteristic to all groups of human beings. For example, if we deny value to a group of people that are not self-aware, then it seems to me that not only the infant, but those who are unconscious because of a head injury are unvaluable. So our answer today is very clear. The unborn is a unique and valuable human being, and therefore abortion is an unjust taking of that unique human being's life. Abortion is an emotionally complex issue. This is granted, but ethically It's very, very simple. And this is why the church teaches that abortion is an intrinsic evil and should never be chosen in society. The church doesn't just make ideas up. The church bases it on natural reasoning and the reasoning we've discussed today. So today we've covered a lot of stuff, but there are a number of things on the subject of abortion that we have not covered, including the negative impact abortion has on the lives of women, statistics that show us that 4,000 unborn children are lost to abortion every day, and the actual techniques whereby abortion actually happens. So on this webpage, there's a bunch of great links. I encourage you to hit them and to really dive deep into education about abortion. There's much more to learn. And I encourage you to be someone who speaks up for those who can't speak for themselves. Thank you very much.